Hello. Today we are going to walk through a very important USMLE strategy that is going to help most students to choose statistical test correctly in 60 seconds during exam day. So let's dive into it. First of all, first of all, we have a question that a researcher wants to compare mean systolic blood pressure among patients receiving three different antihypertensive medications. The outcome variable is continuous and normally distributed. Which statistical test is most important? First thing, before looking at the answer choices, what NBME wants you to identify in this question? Yes, if you are thinking this way, that outcome is continuous, the number of groups they are comparing are three, and yes, this gives our answer. The answer is ANOVA. So let's explain how we marked ANOVA as correct answer. So whenever you are going to have a statistical test question, you should ask two questions from that question stem. Number one, whether that question is comparing two groups or whether it's asking to predict an outcome. If it's comparing groups, your next question should be what type of variable they are asking about, whether it's continuous or categorical. Your next step should be how many groups are they comparing, whether they are comparing two or more than two. Then what type of groups they are comparing, whether they are comparing independent groups or whether they are comparing paired groups. And if they are asking to predict an outcome, your next question should be what type of outcome they are asking to predict. And these two questions, believe me, these two questions are going to help you to mark the correct option in 60 seconds. Let me explain in detail. So first of all, we asked what type of variable are. If the variables are two categorical variables, we are gonna apply chi-square test or Fisher exact test. The differentiation between these two is that Fisher exact test is used for small sample size and chi-square test is used for larger sample size. And we by using these two tests, we can compare two categorical variables. We can actually compare categorical variables between two or more than two groups. And if our variable is continuous, our next question should be how many groups we are comparing and what type of groups we are comparing. And if the variable is continuous, two groups, and if they are independent, we are going to apply independent t-test. And what do I mean by independent groups? Independent group means, for example, one is interventional group in which you are giving drug, and other is control group in which you are giving placebo. And they are totally different groups which do not depend on each other. And if you have a continuous outcome, but you have paired group. What is paired group? It means that you are comparing the patients of same group, but before treatment and after treatment. That is called paired group. And here you are going to apply pair t-test. And if you are having continuous outcome to compare, but you are having more than two groups, you are going to apply ANOVA. And a very distinctive test is Pearson correlation. It is used when you are going to assess the association between two continuous variables. For example, two continuous variables are age and FEV1. So this test is going to give you a linear relationship between these two. It can be positive. If they are associated with each other, it will give you a linear relationship. If they are not associated, it will give you a scattered relationship in which you cannot draw a linear line. And it can be negative as well. So the maximum value of Pearson correlation falls between +1 and -1. +1 or -1 shows that these two variables are maximally associated. But remember, a very important point, that Pearson correlation doesn't show the causation of disease. Next test is prediction test. These tests are used when you have to predict an outcome. Your next question should be whether the outcome is continuous or binary. And if the outcome you are going to predict, which is also called dependent variable, is continuous, you are going to apply linear regression. And if your dependent outcome or dependent variable is binary or categorical, you are going to apply logistic regression. That's a very simple explanation. And if you approach these statistical test question in this streamlined way, in this strategic way, I'm damn sure that you are going to mark correct answer. This is the table to memorize or summarize all the tests accurately, and you can give it a read at the end of the lecture. My next question is, researcher wants to determine whether age, BMI, smoking status predicts systolic blood pressure. What should be your next question? Your next question should be the outcome they need to predict, what type of outcome it is, whether it's continuous or categorical. So here, systolic blood pressure is a continuous outcome, and we are going to apply linear regression here. Our next question is, a researcher wants to determine whether age, hypertension, and diabetes predict 30-day mortality after myocardial infarction. So what is our outcome here? Our outcome here is, yes, mortality. And what is mortality? Mortality can be yes or no. For example, a person can be dead or alive. There is nothing in between. So this is a categorical outcome, and we are going to apply logistic regression here. In the end, to summarize, if we are going to compare two groups, we can apply t-test, ANOVA, and chi-square. If you have two continuous outcomes and you have two groups to compare, you are going to apply t-test. And if you have more than two groups, you are going to apply ANOVA. And chi-square test is used to compare categorical variables between different groups, between different number of groups. It can be two, there can be more than two. And if you want to predict outcome, you are going to apply regression. If it's continuous outcome, you are going to apply linear. And if it's categorical outcome, you are going to apply logistic regression. So many students end memorizing these tests separately. And what I teach, I want to teach the strategy, the actual pattern recognition that is gonna make these type of statistical questions very easily for students. You just need to be streamlined, and you just follow the algorithm for reaching towards the accurate test. So that's all for today. Let's meet you again in the next video. Thank you so much.